we're here with Keith Mulligan, part 2. We did a podcast, Keith, in 2018. And I said at the end of it,
5 years ago?
I said at the end of it, oh, I'll come back and we'll do a part 2. So I'm back. A little late, but we're here. But I always wanted to do it with Keith. I always wanted to go through his magazines and talk a little bit about it. Obviously, Keith, editor of Snap Magazine, just so much knowledge. And I thought it'd be cool just to kind of flip through some magazines. Keith, you said in part 1, this was actually your first issue?
Yeah, first issue that I worked on of Snap. Cover Mike King from Phoenix ABA Nationals, Winter Nationals. Danny Nelson on there with it. Yeah, that was the first issue I did. And I don't remember if I said anything in the last podcast, but the cover shot, I wanted the first issue that I did to be a gate start photo.
Yes.
Because the title of the magazine, Snap, that's kind of what the Snap is. And and up until I started being the other magazine, there never was a gate start photo as a cover. So I thought it'd be pretty cool. And so one round of all the pros, I was just next to the gate 1, I guess. And
Gate 8 there, I think, right? It's kind of weird.
Okay,
I know what you mean, though. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever was on the inside there.
Yeah.
And yeah, just that was the best shot out of all the gates of pros. Mike King,
Thunder.
great colors.
Always good blue skies in Phoenix, right?
Yeah, and that was kind of like later in the day, so it wasn't sunset time yet, but it was like kind of later in the day, and yeah.
And you said on the first podcast, you said that Darren Mitchell actually came up with the name Snap.
Yeah.
So were you guys all sitting around BSing, like how did...
Well, the magazine, was around for a couple of years before I worked for it. So I think he suggested it to Brad McDonald.
Okay.
When Brad was like kind of maybe getting photos together and working on it before the first issue came out, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, from what I heard, Darren Mitchell was the one who suggested that Snap was the name of the magazine.
Yeah.
So.
Alan Foster. So this would every month... this is just an ad. I thought it was a center page thing.
Airwalk ad.
Sheep Hills. Back in the days when pros got paid to run shoes, right? You did a lot of stuff with Airwalk.
I didn't do too much as far as photos go. I probably sold them some photos. I think Brad did like photo shoots for them.
Yeah.
I used to get shoes from Alan, and when I lived in New York, and then always get good gear from him when I moved out here. I always thought Airwalk was cool as far as all the stuff they were doing in BMX.
Yeah. I remember just going to Alan's house, just with like boxes of shoes and stuff, and I'd come fresh from England where you get like one pair of Vans a year,
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. Neil was already on Airwalk, and it's like, and I'd see all these boxes at Neil's, and then I finally went over to Alan's with him, and I was on GT, so I think it was Adidas, or it wasn't, you had, and I said to Alan, can I get an Airwalk, And so he started giving me a few pairs and stuff, and I don't think I was officially an Airwalk guy, but more shoes than I ever got,
Yeah.
It was...
No, he used to call me up, and he's like, yeah, you need some shoes? And I was like, sure. And I'd pick one out, like he'd send me the catalog, and he's like, no, pick a few,
Right.
So it was always cool.
John Paul Rogers, right? That is famous Schwinn tattoo. So, again, that's when Schwinn were kind of blowing up, right, around this time.
Yeah.
Got the Fosters were on Schwinn, Matt Polkamp, Bogey Gibbons.
Garcia.
I saw him last week.
He was racing, right?
Jimmy was racing, side act with his daughter, and I think Joey was just hanging out. Looked like he was drinking beer, and I was talking to him, and it was cool to see him.
Nice.
But the whole family was there. I think his dad was involved in the organisation. But yeah, Schwinn at the time, that was, that was on par with all the big teams, right?
Yeah, that was their big, early mid '90s. Their comeback with that big team.
Yeah, freestyle team as well, right? John Pova was the freestyle team manager. Vans, again, these are the golden era of, at least for racing, right? McGrath, he was there last week. Ellis, he was there last week at Frogtown. See the GT ad? Probably a lot of people haven't seen that. He still rides pretty good as well. Mongoose. Who were some of the companies that, because like a lot of people just came in hot around this time, right? And then was gone pretty quick. Yeah, your Gary Fishers and the...
I think in the mid 90s, like, things got pretty big again. You know, like things kind of died out early 90s, but then mid 90s things started kind of doing well, and moto counts were up, and a lot of people, like, and you had all the big companies were still doing really, doing well, and
Yeah.
getting big. Haro GT, Powerlight, Mongoose.
Would you ever have like companies that came in and wanted to do ads and stuff? You're like, no, you can't do that.
As far as just like a company that wanted to
Yeah,
do an
like
ad?
a new company comes in and want to start doing ads and stuff, and
No, I think Brad would take the money from anyone.
Oh, he would?
You know?
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't want to say no to a company if they're a big company, you know?
yeah.
The only thing, like, there's probably some things that, there were, I guess, rules of what could be in an ad.
Right.
As far as, just, no alcohol and things
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. But Twin used to do cool posters every year, so they'd have, like, an ad and then pull out poster with all, like, riding, jumping shots of all the guys. Pretty cool. They did that for a couple of years.
And every month was a different company would get that, right?
This was like just a thing that Schwinn did.
Right.
This wasn't like a poster in the magazine.
Right.
We did start that down the road a little bit, but this is just something they paid for, more like an ad.
Yeah. And would be everybody jostling to get that every month, or it was?
So when we did posters in the magazine, let's see if we can find. I don't know when they started. That was something that was like a paid thing. So, you'd sign up a company, and they would pay to have that, and their logo would be on that poster. Like this one was a poster with Jerry Bagley that Standard sponsored.
Okay.
So it's kind of like an ad. They would pay for it, and we would do an interview with that rider. And,
So that's part of it then, an interview and a center spread.
Yeah, so there'd be a interview on the backside, just kind of like a smaller, good photo, and then, there'd be one giant poster, one big photo on the inside. And, we would do that.
What kind of price would that be then?
I never knew any of the prices. Like, I didn't do any of the ad sale stuff.
Right.
And not every single issue had them, but a lot did.
There was Redline catalogs in there, weren't there?
Yeah. See this one with Pole Camp. See if I can find it. This one's kind of got a lot going on.
Yeah.
There's like a
Redline
big, thick
catalog.
Redline catalog in there. Maybe it got pulled out of this issue. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, here it is. So yeah, this one was one that Schwinn sponsored with Matt Polkamp. It's a big,
Check that one out, Ken.
cool photo of riding.
So where's that at?
I don't know. Steve Bundeck shot this one. Interview with Matt, and then bigger photo on the inside that looks like he's doing like a one-handed X-up. And Bundeck shot this one.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, posters were super cool because it's like gives kids like something huge to pull out, put on their wall, but you get an interview out of it, So yeah, posters were always fun to do.
Gotta mention this one. My good friend Jason Carnes on Poor Boy. This is actually an article in Texas, right, Keith?
Yeah, that was a Texas road trip. Steve Bundeck shot that one and wrote that one.
John Pearson in his backyard. Always saw footage and photos and that looked so fun there. Did you ever go?
I went once.
Uh-huh.
Shot photos with first. Yeah. And Kyle Bennett was there too.
Kyle was young then, right?
Yeah. So this is we would do fun stuff too, like 1 question, 5 answers, and 5 different guys. You're in this one, Dale.
What's the question?
As a AA pro, are you jealous of how big freestyle and dirt jumping have become in the last couple of years? So this was in '99, so late '90s.
Right.
You know, freestyle really kind of blew up. Dirt jumping got a lot bigger.
But a few people have asked me in the past, that kind of helped, did race kind of piggyback that a little bit, right, you think?
Yeah. You know, racing was doing good in the '90s too. So a lot of those companies, you know, they had teams for freestyle and for racing, but there was definitely a lot of, probably a lot more TV and sponsorships on the freestyle end of things.
Mm-hmm.
Just more exciting on TV with, you know, X Games and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Happening.
I like this. Is this Bo's Trails?
That was Bo's Trails, yeah.
I saw him last week.
Bo?
He raced his son. Pretty cool. It's like Ramona or
Pomona?
Pomona.
Yeah, maybe Pomona.
Yeah, it wasn't the easiest place for me. I only went
It's
a few
out there
times.
somewhere.
Yeah. Doug Luton was definitely an underrated but a good announcer.
Yeah.
He did a lot of the GTTV stuff.
Good amateur racer, great announcer. He actually worked for the magazines doing ad sales for a while.
Oh, he did? I think I remember that now, yeah.
Even in, so this one, I think, let me just look at the, he might have started after this.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he started after this issue, but yeah, he ended up being he did ad sales for the magazine for a while.
And Doug's from your neck of the woods, right? In New Jersey?
New Jersey, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a great announcer. I remember he did all the prank TV and stuff with Redman and GT guys.
This is funny. So this is, you know, the first issue I did. When I first started working for the magazine, you know, it was Brad McDonald, Chris Hargrave, who was the Ride BMX editor,
Yeah.
and then myself for Snap. Steve Budendeck, who was the original Snap editor, he still did things back from the East Coast as a contributing editor.
Mm-hmm.
But just no real, you know, staff as far as art directors and things like that. So I had to lay out the magazine also.
And you've never done that before?
No. And so I had to, you know, write the articles, shoot the photos, and do layouts. So I remember, like, I did this layout, and
That's
you know,
cool.
I'm no designer, that's for sure, you know. But we quickly figured out, like, that wasn't going to work. I wasn't
Just too much.
good and fast at it, and it was just too much to do, you know.
Who did that then eventually?
Chris Hargrave helped with some layouts, and then eventually Revolution, who was Magoo and Bill Bryant, they laid out the magazine for a while, and then we ended up hiring different art directors over the years. But yeah, at first I was laying it out.
Yeah, that's a lot of work, isn't it? How many hours were you kind of putting in a week when you first started?
It was kind of nonstop. Like, I remember, you know, shooting photos every day, but I was also shooting photos for Ride. And then, you know, I'd be up all night, like at the office, trying to write stuff and try to figure out how to do layouts. So,
A lot of
lot of hours.
So Neil Wood on the cover there. The date of that is 97. This is May, June 1997. So Neil was somewhat fresh on DK, probably around then, I would think, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a Bose as well, right?
Yeah.
Remember much of the, remember the shoot?
Let's see what it says here. Oh, is that Bose? I don't really... Early afternoon session at Bose during a DK Legend test. I mean, I remember shooting photos, but I can't tell you any details on that day.
Yeah.
Some stuff I can. I can look at a photo and tell you
Everything.
a bunch of stuff, you know, and then there's the ones where it's like, not a whole lot there.
Is there any particular shoots that you like, you know, that was your favorite, or somebody that was like, that was a nightmare?
They were always fun.
Yeah.
Some stuff was tougher when you were, you know, let's say we were shooting a poster with a race guy, and if you don't have a good race photo, then you're trying to get like a jumping shot, and that was a little bit tough sometimes, or even with like interviews with guys. I remember kind of helping a couple of guys along on like how to do a trick or, you know, something like that.
Right.
I remember like kind of coaching Robert McPherson on tabletops at Sheep Hills for a photo.
I think he even beats me at that, probably.
Danny Nelson doing X-ups, you know.
Right.
But No, I mean photo shoots were always fun because you're either at a track or some jumps, and you figure out some cool stuff. And I'd like to think I got good stuff out of everyone as far as whether it was a jumping shot or like a track shot, even just trying to shoot someone looking fast on a track. Even if it's not a real race photo, it's just them by themselves. That was always fun. I remember getting like good photo. Yeah, like stuff like there's a good Allen cover and another one of Sam Arellano that were really similar.
When he's on Mosh.
Let's see if I find the Allen one. These two. I mean, they're almost identical photos, different tracks, different photo shoots.
Right. Yeah.
But this is just like up close, going fast. Over.
Where's that? Like Cutting Edge or somewhere?
This was out in. God, I can't think of all the tracks anymore. Ontario.
Okay, so Cutting Edge.
Cutting Edge, yeah.
That's a good little track.
So Allen, when he was on Free Agent.
Uh-huh.
I like shots like this. It's like you're not going to get a racing shot that up close, know. And then got another similar one with Sam Arellano. Might even be the same track. Yeah, same. Wedge Guasti BMX track, Ontario.
Cutting Edge, I think. Yeah, it was called Cutting Edge, I think.
Yeah,
it's got to
maybe
be.
They changed the name or something.
Yeah.
At some point. But yeah, pretty similar photos.
Yeah.
Like different riders, different photo shoots.
All good, going during the good days.
Yeah, and trying to get like a good track shot of guys who actually raced.
Would you ever shoot photos like if you were doing a cover shot or something, or a send-up page? If the weather was like dull or something, you'd always wait for a sunny day, or?
I mean, if it rained, you wouldn't ride, but you'd always try to get something. And sometimes even cloudy days, you can get something cool. I always like trying to get stuff sunset late in the day, especially at Sheep Hills.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
so
Sheep
many
Hills.
photos that looked exactly the same. So
Yeah.
I try to get some different variety out of that. Really cool Ellis photo.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So this was a Gary Ellis poster.
So you
GT
went to
sponsored.
his house then, right, for this?
There's a couple of photos here. So this one was at Hidden Valley. No, where was this one? This might have been at Hidden Valley, but the actual poster I remember was shot at Hidden Valley, and this actually was like a drizzly day in California. I'll open this up, but yeah, I remember Gary came down to do poster shoot. It's kind of gray, but we had that one day. He's in town, so. But this was at Hidden Valley Trails in Huntington Beach, and it was kind of a gray, drizzly day, but we still got a cool photo. Gary jumping, and he gave me his jersey from that day, so
cool.
I have that.
You still got it?
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
With the
And that
crushes.
was kind of his farewell time, so
98.
he was giving jerseys out, and then this was from his Nora Cup interview that I did up at his house.
Right. Where he did this suicide, was it?
Yeah. So this was a shot of him on his Harley that I had from that, so I used that with this
That's cool.
poster. So that was pretty cool. And then got a Super Bowl helmet. So yeah, it was pretty.
Yeah,
pretty
that's
good.
cool.
I mean, anytime you get to shoot photos with Gary Ellis,
Mm-hmm.
because he wasn't a Southern California pro, so he was never accessible unless you went up there, or got something with them, to race or whatever.
Steve Veltman, talker. I think it's got to be. That's the same one as here in '97. I think he was up for the title around that time. Chris Breen. So he was pretty regular test rider, right?
Yeah, Chris was a test rider for Snap. Timmy Strzelecki, Scotty Yokolet, Josh Stricker.
So when Chris was on, I don't know if this was when he was on GT or after. So if he was on a GT or Horror, you wouldn't be allowed to be a test rider, or it was kind of tricky.
I think it was up to, whether or not GT would allow him to,
Yeah, maybe this was after.
I remember Andre Ellison was a test rider, and he was on Haro at the time, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And one of his sponsors called him, was super pissed because I forget what brand of pants he wore.
He was like Fox or something, wasn't he?
It wasn't Fox, but they were super pissed because there's a photo of him in the magazine not wearing their gear, and I was like, he's a test rider for the magazine. This is the test uniform, like,
Yeah.
But other than that, any race shots or jumping shots, he's going to be wearing, your gear.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was Alpine Stars or something, but it's like, no, and he was a test rider before they started sponsoring him. So it was like, no, he's been doing this for us for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was all these things that would come up with companies and sponsors and some fires you have to put out every now and then.
We're talking to Scott Yocolat. He was a very talented rider, wasn't he?
Yeah, Sky was really good. Fast racer, great jumper.
Yeah, it's a good double A. I think the first time I saw him or a video of him was when he was on Baden Co.
Mm-hmm.
When he raced the ABA Grands, I think he won, right?
Yep.
Bogey Gibbons. Still around, right, Bogey is?
Bogey moved to Texas, either in Austin or just outside of Austin.
Remote control cars, right? That's what he's all races.
He's big into that, yeah.
Yeah. There's another one. The Wild Man. Knucklebone. Not the coolest number plate sponsor, but I think them guys got a little cash out of that, didn't they?
Yeah.
There's always a joke with Thunder Dan. He was a knucklebone guy as well. We used to always make fun of him.
Yeah. Neil was also.
Neil was? He was, wasn't he? Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, he kept that low key.
It's cool. There's a Levesque ad for Fox that I shot the photo with, and then right after that, it's an article on
The Frenchies, right? I remember that.
Tomas and Christoph. This I shot at Coal Canyon. And that was kind of cool, shooting like photos of both of those guys together.
So Thomas is pretty fresh out, right? This is probably
This
the first.
was 99.
Okay, he came out end of 98, yeah.
And just an article on how fast those guys were. And,
Yeah.
some jumping track shots. Good one of Christoph.
That's good. There's so many great pictures of Thomas.
And then did a thing on each of their bikes.
It's funny now, if any of the new school are watching this, this is kind of the Joris and Sauvé and Andre getting America,
Brian Foster poster sponsored by Maxis.
Sheep,
Cool.
right?
Yeah. Let's see what the other one. The main photo. Superman Sea Crab at Sheep Hills. All the Dan's ads.
Good magazine, right? Adam Richards. Not everybody will remember Adam Richards, but he was double A and around. Fast guy from Florida. Super strong. Definitely a bit intimidating. Him and Avedessa. Not many. You'd never want to mess with these guys or talk crap with them because they're down to fight at the finish. But Adam was really good, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was fast.
so
And he was a
Eric.
big dude.
Yeah. He unfortunately passed away many years ago, but
Yeah.
he was a big fast. I think he cost Christoph, the halfway series. I think one year, I think it was for Open, you got a Sea-Doo jet ski.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Christoph just needed a certain position, and Adam was winning the final. And I think he crashed right in front of Christoph. And it cost, pretty sure it cost Christoph that jet ski. Free agent? Who was in the free agent ads back then?
I don't know. Who's that?
How does it say?
They don't really.
Isn't it race?
I don't know who's doing their ads back then.
I remember this race. So this is Santa Barbara.
Mm-hmm.
There's Christoph, a little piece in the corner there. He's totally smoking everybody.
Is that the one that Sean Palmer raced?
That's what I was just about to say, yeah. This
Yeah.
is when Sean Palmer was just kind of fresh in mountain biking.
Probably a photo of him.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Yeah, he came and battled with Barry Nelson. Definitely this issue. There we go.
Yep.
So yeah, that's when Sean Palmer came and did a race and went head to head with GT's Barry Nelson. Barry actually talked about it in a podcast I did with him a few months ago. And yeah, Palmer was hot then, wasn't he? Big
All right.
specialized deal.
Yeah, I got a good photo of Danny Nelson from this race. I think it's the table of contents photo.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's Santa Barbara?
that's Santa Barbara.
Okay.
Yeah, just like I always like photos like this. Like, I mean, he's like intense. You know, look in his face. There's some motion blur, show he's going fast. But yeah, I just remember, I like shooting races and like getting creative, good, different photos. You know, and some tracks, you know, it was tough to shoot, and other ones you had more opportunities.
Yeah.
Indoors were always hard, but you get cool, blurry, you know.
Where's that? Christmas Classic?
This
somewhere?
is Christmas Classic, yeah, 98.
What a great race that was.
They always had the dirt jumping contest, DK Dirt Circuit there, Tabo Koviak, Neil.
Oh, that's a good one, Neil, yeah.
Neil and DK.
See, a lot of people in England don't. A lot of old school guys that are still involved in BMX. They haven't seen a lot of this side of Neil or the coverage and everything he did here, because obviously not everybody got the magazines back then, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, if you were here and you're seeing what Neil was doing, obviously winning Nura Cup, getting on DK, S&M, and so many great pictures in the mags. Got to shout this one out, Dr. J. I know you're watching. Marshad. I think that was a demolition man look. And he bleached his hair.
We would always do like different buyer's guides also. So like just focus on one product. You know, this issue we did goggles. You know, so you got Arnett, Goat.
Would you rate them all?
No, I mean it's not something we tested them. It's more of just like, here's the product, here's their features. You know, this is kind of cool. We listed like who's sponsored by that company.
Okay.
For that.
Yeah, Wildman, he was a team manager, I think, for Arnett as well, maybe.
Yeah.
JT.
Like a hologram crazy eyeball in that one.
Smith, they were there for a few minutes.
Smith. Scott.
God,
you know, and some of them didn't sponsor anyone, but
yeah,
just still kind of show them and stuff. And then this, you know, there was always dirt jumping and Snap. Like I was in the first issue with like a scene report from Long Island. But jumping got a lot bigger and a lot more popular through the 90s. So we definitely started putting more jumping photos in the magazine.
But a lot of those guys were racers anyway. They were.
A lot of guys were racers, yeah. Here's Jerry Bagley.
Oh, yeah. Jerry looks full racer.
Paul Daly, he was a good racer. He was on Redline, and then what else did he race for?
Hoffman
Bikes.
Yeah.
Yep. You know, good photo of Fuzzy.
Oh, that's a good one, yeah.
You know, Fuzzy, like, people probably don't remember. He was a fast racer. Like, he did good in A Pro, and
he was double A for a little bit, I think, was he?
Yeah.
I raced him in A Pro.
I'm just kind of skipping around different issues here.
Any new school people watching this, you can just see by the magazine, the sponsors, and the it's in the book.
Is that Sanchez one?
Oh, is that the one he signed a few weeks ago, were you?
Yeah.
After a few beers.
Had my 50th birthday party, and Chris Sanchez came over, and it was cool. A lot of people hadn't seen him in a long time, but he kind of signed this cover. So it's in this issue. Justin Lafredo.
Okay, so he was your neck of the woods as well, right?
He was. He's from Long Island. We grew up racing at Shore BMX together. This was out in Sheep Hills. He was out for a little bit.
Because he never made the full move to California, did he?
No, he did for a little bit, but he didn't live out here that long.
Yeah.
I saw him actually like a year ago. Shoreham had its 40th anniversary, and we had a reunion, and Justin was out there.
He was good at the Vans Triple Crown.
Yeah.
He was one of the early guys that kind of was good at that.
You know, like you can tell how things were going at different times. Like the magazine's fairly thick, you know. Sometimes if you look at like the first issue, you know, it's like super thin, and then this is 98. You know, it's gotten thicker. There's more stuff in there, more ads.
So you can just tell it's.
Yeah, you know, thicker the magazine, the more ads and more, you know, companies were supporting the magazine. Like, you know, this is December of 2000. You know, it's like a heavy good.
So is the early 2000s a bit better than the late 90s?
I think it just ramped
Similar?
up. You know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, it's
like
carried
this
on.
is 94 maybe.
94 'cause of the
And
Worlds, yeah.
yeah, and it's like, you know, obviously it's the first issue, but for a while that magazine stayed pretty thin, and you know, a lot of the magazine was just black and white. And then as the 90s kept going, more and more companies came in, like Huffy's in here, you know, and just more companies spending money. I'm sure at this time you'll probably see, you know, like Etnies, which was a skate shoe company, like they're in here supporting like BMX, you got Redline, Huffy with a 2-page spread, Knucklebone with full-page ads, GT with a spread, 1-800-COLLECT. Like you saw a lot of companies that weren't bike companies, you know, that were
Well, they
coming
came in
in
with Neil and Robbie and DK for a while, didn't they?
Yeah, they were a big sponsor of DK, Profile, Hoffman Bikes, XS, which was Schwinn's parts company, Diamondback. So you had a lot of companies, you know, kind of dipping in and trying stuff, and even just people selling just pad sets and plates and parts and stuff. It wasn't just bike companies.
Everybody was doing
You know.
good.
Answer, Vans was, got Jerry Batters in there. Free Agent.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You know, tire companies. So this is when BMX was like Jenko. Kind of rebounded after the early 90s, and by the late 90s it was doing good.
I think I don't even remember this issue. So that's Norco, right?
That's Roseville.
Okay.
Sean, Texas.
He showed up at the track a few months ago. Well, probably about half a year ago now. And he was still pretty fast.
Did he race?
No, we're just at San Diego BMX one Sunday morning. We have like a Sunday morning session, and someone's like, "Oh, Sean Texas is here," and we did some gates. Man, he was beating me down the first straight. It was still pretty good.
Let me see if this. I might have got in trouble on this one. Hold on. There was a poster with Neil that I did, and oh yeah, this one I got in trouble. So this was a Neil Wood poster with 1-800-COLLECT, and in the interview, I asked Neil, I said, "Do you believe in Satan?"
Oh no.
And he said, "Sure, why not?" And then I asked, "What's your philosophy on religion?" He said, "I don't believe in anything I can't see. There, satanic references movie-based. I just like the cool aspect. Chicks in leather and guys with horns are a lot cooler than some dude with a beard." And I asked that question because he had a tattoo. You know, he had some tattoos that were pretty demonic and stuff. And 1-800-COLLECT was not happy.
Oh, really?
That one. Yeah, they
wanted
were
like
not happy that that question was in there. And it's like, well,
did they like? I should just take it out, or they didn't read it till they read it?
they didn't read it until it was out in
printed.
print. But it's like, well, he's got a pentagram on his arm, like it's
Yeah,
it's a valid question,
right?
You know? But yeah, they weren't happy with that one. Those are some of those fires you got to put out.
So some people would just read something and then they'd like, or if somebody talked crap on somebody, then they would contact you guys and.
Yeah, I mean, like something like this, we didn't send to 1-800 to collect to approve. It's like, this is editorial as well, and it's like you just do it, you know, and then just sometimes people are pissed. Bike test, Breen, so mosh test.
Who's Doug?
Yeah, what was that? Oh, spin wheels.
Oh, spins, okay.
Spin composite wheels. Those like
Yeah, I had a couple
kind of
pairs of
mad
them.
wheels.
Yeah.
You guys, was GT like sponsored by
GT
them?
was
or
it was
did
all
they
out of
own them?
GT. Yeah, you didn't have to use them, but you got the option to use them, and there was a pretty good bonus. But obviously, using the wheels, it was hard to get the bonus because you weren't going as fast. I think Townsend really kind of did it the longest.
That looks like Griggs almost.
Could
Billy
be.
Griggs?
Could be. Base. Yeah, I think it could be.
How to do Gate Star with Thunder Dan. This was cool. Evolution of the number plate. So, I did this article and it was all about number plates and where it started and all the different styles and companies and stuff. There's a timeline, and the coolest thing about this was all the number plates in here got sent to me and I took photos of them. So this was like the original Bob Haro
The original?
plate that he like had a bunch of photos in the early magazines with on his bike.
Mm-hmm.
Not his very first one that he made, I don't think. I'd have to kind of read it. But no, it's pretty cool. Like there's some really old and different stuff in here.
So you have to send them all back?
Yeah, and I got to keep one that Will Smith sent me.
A jive?
He sent me a jive one that that he let me keep. But yeah, most of them all got sent back.
You still got it?
Yeah, I do, downstairs in my garage.
Yeah, jive plates.
And even I had like this is my friend Rob Hughes from New York. He was a great amateur racer and an A pro, and I think this was one of his plates that he sent me just to like kind of fill in a blank there, you know. But this says in 1998, a blue number plate would have you watching the mains from the sidelines. Back in '85, it was all good. This 09 moto control system caused no disqualification. So I think like that was basically saying like there's not enough contrast here. You know, it's like black letter on a white plate is easy to read, and I'm sure at some point they had rules against like stuff like that.
Yeah.
But you know, plates from 79, 78, 77.
You had all them plates now. That was some serious collector
Right?
stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think the collector, maybe it was, but I don't think people were really that bothered about, there's a jive, the collecting thing back then, was it? Like 90s, early 2000s.
No. I don't think everyone had the foresight to like
What was going to
save
happen?
certain things. I mean, some people have, but most people didn't, you know. And even like this is like a red line plate that was on their forklifter bars. That was a freestyle bike, you know. Like
Oh, red line
it came and they bolted onto the bars.
I remember that.
I believe, you know. But yeah, people used number plates in freestyle to show their sponsors. And
What was
stuff.
your favorite plates?
I always loved UGP plates.
You ran those, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and my favorite one was the Pro Panel. Let me see. This one right there. I always thought that was a rad plate.
That was one of the earlier ones
Super
then,
cool, yeah.
There's from the Worlds in Norway, which you was at.
Yep.
Is that your plate? Look like a cruiser plate.
This one, yeah, it could have been like my cruiser plate.
16, 17 cruiser.
16, 17, yeah.
Yeah.
So that might have been mine from Norway. Let's see what else.
The plates from Detroit Worlds. Todd Lines. I think, maybe not.
Yeah, just different. I don't know. I had fun doing articles like that because they were interesting.
Yeah,
and,
yeah. I'd be interested in
kinda
that
shows
now
different
still.
stuff.
That's tours then when a bunch of American guys went to. Was you there? You obviously went then, right?
Yeah, I went to this one. Shot photos. Subscription
Reynolds.
stuff. I think this was like subscribe and you could win this bike. So that was a test bike that we had.
So Reynolds would like donate it?
Yeah, I think they would donate it. Wade Boots' interview. I remember getting really good photos of him, and that was at his house in Texas. And he had like a full track. He had like 6 acres of land.
Went
And
and bought land, didn't he? Yeah.
he had like a full like, not like a BMX track so to speak, but he had like trails that were like really good. I remember just like really being happy with some of the jumping shots with him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty good.
This was pretty interesting. I don't know if you can see it in this photo, but there was a poster that we did with him, and the back of his bike, I think in this area here, you can't really see it in this photo, but he actually hacksawed part of it because it was too stiff.
To make it.
And so like
flex.
this brace was like too stiff for him,
Risky.
and he like cut a section of it. And I think in the poster photo that I did, you can actually see it. You know, it looks like the frame is cracked, but he like cut it that way on purpose. Like these Trek frames, like they were just so stiff the way that they were built. I think it was aluminum back then because of how thick everything looks. I mean, dropouts are super thick, so it had to be aluminum.
Oh my god, it's worse than the Specialized.
Yeah, he had a dirt bike and some jumps back there, so it's him on his dirt bike.
Oh wow. He married Texan, so obviously that's why he located out there.
You know what he's doing these days? Is he a coach or anything?
He's involved in the. I mean, I think he's pretty high up there now in the Australian Federation. I think he's started the coach, and I think he might run the whole program now for the Olympic stuff.
Crazy, like mountain cycle bike, no C2.
There's a mountain bike company into it.
Yeah.
I don't think they really sponsored anybody though, did they?
I don't know.
There you go, Contest.
Contest.
So look, Contest on clips as well, which not everybody was on clips by then. He was one of the early guys.
This was 98.
Yeah,
so
so
by
he's
this time
early.
a lot of people were starting to, but not everyone.
No, not everybody really went over till you had your mountain bike guys.
Yeah.
A couple guys, but not everybody really did it till 2000.
Kiyomi Waller's got flat pedals.
Hayden.
Obviously Neil. You know, even BF. Romero. Looks like they're all on flat pedals still.
Mm-hmm. You got a Snap cover, Christmas classic, Mike Hayek, Craig Reynolds. Reynolds always looked good when he was in white.
Yeah.
Face mask.
It was always good when we could get like a race photo on the cover, and I wish there was a lot more of them, but it also got to the point where like the cover is what sold the magazine.
That really makes a difference then, does it?
Yeah, and there's always data on what issues sold better than the rest, and the race covers just didn't sell well, so that's why
because of
it
the
ended
cover.
up. Yeah, on a newsstand, you had, if you weren't front on the newsstand, you had all these other magazines covering you. So, that's what you would see on a newsstand if you weren't in the front.
Right.
So that's why you always want to have action up high if you could.
Okay. Makes sense.
And, so like, give you a couple of examples of like jumping was always, you try to have, up high.
Okay, see, I didn't know that, yeah.
But if you had, like this one is positioned up high, just try to get something up there.
Yeah.
But if you look at, let's see. I remember there was a really bad Wade Boots cover that didn't do good. And that was from like NBL Brands. It's probably on the table here somewhere. But yeah, you always try to have action up high when you could.
There we go.
This one.
Oh, I actually like this Wade Boots cover.
Yeah, but it didn't do good on, sales-wise.
Because it's not higher up.
Or it's just not that exciting.
Yeah.
Also, so, you see that, you don't know
No.
really what's happening there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why a lot more covers started to have like jumping on them. Just more excitement, and they would sell better.
Is there like a certain issue that's like this did better than any others, or did you kind of know that data?
I don't remember at this point. Like there was always, there would always be, spreadsheets on that. Like each issue, how it sold, how long it was on the newsstand for, and copies. So we could like back at that time compare like this one did really well, this one didn't do well.
Mm-hmm. So when they didn't sell a certain when they didn't sell magazines, did they actually send them back to you, or what worked?
No. I think they would just like destroy them. They would just rip the cover off and throw them away.
Really?
I think, yeah.
And that's a norm for any magazine, any publication.
Yeah, and like they sold a lot less copies than you would think.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean,
Do you know what the
putting
highest
out like they
numbers
were
were?
only. I don't know any of the numbers.
No.
I wouldn't remember them. But a magazine's only on the newsstand for 3 or 4 weeks at a time, and if you were late with any deadlines, that could push it back a week or 2 weeks or whatever. So, that's why the deadlines are so important.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it was only on the newsstand for 2 weeks, it wasn't going to sell very well.
Yeah.
So, newsstand was everything, and that's why you didn't see a lot of race covers. After a while, they just didn't sell as well, and that's why you would see more of like jumping up high, covers like that.
When did Snap turn into Transworld, or how did that kind of change?
That changed June 2001 was the first issue of Transworld BMX. I don't know at what point the magazines got bought.
Is Brad still involved?
Yeah, brought into the Transworld family, but at some point, the problem was Snap wasn't doing that well with just racing, and a lot of the race companies weren't advertising, and they were putting all their money into huge rigs and huge teams, and not spending any money on advertising, and all their money would be on their team or sponsoring a race, things like that. And the magazine started getting thinner, and we started seeing like less and less companies supporting the race magazine. So Brad decided that we would change it to Transworld BMX and include freestyle into it, because there was a lot more money in freestyle, and there'd be more ads. So that was June of 2001. Let me see if I can find like a late 2001 issue, or before it changed.
Kevin Tomko, Horo ad Pro Cruiser. Tomko, another one of the early guys that clipped in.
Good cover.
Oh yeah, I don't know if I want to show him this. I've already talked about it, Keith. Not happy with the sunglasses, but stoked to get on the cover. I was just really mad I got a full face helmet and sunglasses at Sheep Hills. Mario Soda, I always liked that center page. You guys that remember Mario, definitely going to be on the way to being the next guy, till unfortunately he passed away in a accident down in Colombia. But I think Mario could have been one of the very first double A's flip in. He brought it over from amateur and just kind of lit everybody up.
Yeah.
It was like kind of allié stylish one, just kind of like oh wow, what's this? Something new,
This was a cover I always loved, and this was after there was a lot of jumping covers, and I wanted a good race cover, and I got this photo from Christmas Classic, I believe.
That's good, yeah.
And that's a good race photo. To
yeah,
me.
Absolutely.
Even though no one's jumping, it's like everyone's coming into a turn. Abadessa's got a foot off. Polecamp's foot's ready to come off. Same with Thunder Dan, and it's like they're all, elbow to elbow. Everyone's intense, focused.
Abadessa was actually clipped in.
Yeah. I thought that was, I always liked that cover.
Yeah, no, it.
And then still had the mix of a lot of dirt jumping in there. This is from May of 2000.
2000.
Yeah. Schwinn GT with McGrath.
It's cool, though.
DC shoes.
So DC came in pretty strong for a while, didn't they?
Yeah. And this is, you have dirt jumping guys, as well as some racers, freestyle guys, Tyler Koviak, Colin Winkleman, Neil Wood, Chris Doyle, Jarek Bagley, Robbie Miranda, Chad Kagi, Lee Ramsdale, Robbie Morales. Yeah, they came in big.
Dave Mirra was DC as well, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm. John Purse with a bunch of awards. He was killing it for so long.
Yeah.
Mike Aiken on Mosh. Let's see. There's you with Danny and Rob Indry.
Rob Indry, yeah. When Rob
France.
passed away, you wrote a little thing, which is cool. Oh no.
There's Dale.
Oh my gosh. I don't know if I need to show him that one and the sunglass one. Did you shoot that?
Yeah.
It was orange.
So you must have been sponsored by Oakley then.
Yeah, that was 2000.
Yeah, I mean, you got Oakley sticker
that was
on
when I got the right at the start of Nerf, so that's early 2000s.
Did you race with glasses on?
A little bit here and there, yeah.
I always found it was like I couldn't.
I didn't
like glasses on when I rode.
I liked it with the open face helmet, but with the full face, I think you was expected to wear goggles or at least I think sunglasses, if not. And I didn't like goggles, so that was kind of why I did it. I don't think it was because it was like a great advantage or anything, you know.
It's always good to see like what products were coming out at that time. You know, like G-Shock watches, GT full face.
The G-Shock, they used to have a lot of commercials as well.
Haro shin pads, Odyssey forks, DK with the platforms, Speedmax, Black Mamba tires. I don't even remember that company.
No. Can you remember how long racing was in Transworld? When it kind of was almost the end or the end?
I mean, it was always in there, but I think like we stopped doing full race like stories and articles on who placed what and the main events and stuff like that. It kind of turned into a mix of a lot of photos and maybe kind of more quicker recaps.
Yeah.
I don't know if at that time like the internet was, you know, coming on strong, so maybe people didn't. I don't know why. Maybe there just wasn't as much interest, but there also wasn't those race companies like supporting the magazine.
Right.
So we kind of weren't doing as much then with it.
Yeah.
I'll find an issue of, you know, a Transworld BMX one that would be on like the later end. Like this was, I believe this is the last. This was the last issue,
one?
Yeah, of the magazine.
Well, let's see, you got the pictures.
And it was kind of a, I mean, it was definitely a bummer because this was the 99th issue of Snap and Transworld BMX, and
what year is it?
This was January of 2005.
Okay. Longer than I thought.
And let me see. There was always like a the issue number, the year number. So this was so January 2005, volume 12, which means the 12th year of the magazine. Issue number 1, which would be January, and then number 99. So this is the 99th total magazine, and you know we're probably getting ready to do issue 100, which would be a big issue and like do a lot of cool stuff, and then kind of got word like it was done. So this issue was already kind of half done when we were told it was the last one. So we quickly kind of did a couple of things, you know, put special collector's issue on there because we knew it was the last one.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And then I think we did, like all good things must come to an end. Snap Transworld 94 to 2005.
See that,
a little collage. Yeah. And it's funny because there's even like, you know, subscription cards in it.
Oh, still.
But the magazine's like
subscribe to nothing.
You know? Yeah. I think there was something. What did we do? There was something in here.
Oh, that was cool. I remember that. Yeah. All the covers.
All the covers, yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
11 years, 99 issues, countless memories. Here's a tribute to those who graced the covers of Snap and Transworld BMX over the years.
Yeah, that's cool. I think BMX Action did something like that, right? Or you'd see see issues with all the covers.
Yeah. And I mean, like, covers are so memorable.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool. You can
recap.
Really kind of go through the evolution of the magazine and see how things kind of evolved and changed, and
you can really see what
things that stay constant, you know. But one thing you'll notice, it's like always the action was up high when possible.
Yeah.
You know, all the jumping shots, it's like up high. You know, and you know, cover lines were always, you know, super important. What you had in the top of the magazine, you know, here is what would get seen on the newsstand. So those were your things to try to sell the magazine, like free poster, you know, top pro names up there, buyer's guide. Those are all like cover lines that, you know, kind of make an impact when you're trying to sell on the newsstand.
Yeah. Would you guys like kind of really have to debate what was put on the cover?
Oh
like
yeah,
captions and
that
stuff?
was always like, you know, a lot of work, and you know, you'd come up with stuff, you'd change it, you'd tinker with it. Yeah, it was always, and then you kind of figure out a format sometimes, and you kind of stick with that for a while. Like free poster up top, anything free was always like, you know, really good. Top names like Dave Mira, you know, Matt Hoffman on
yeah.
there. You know, free poster, 12 pages new gear, dirt jumping, BMX racing, like just quick things that would kind of tell you what's in there. Even just BMX, because Snap, as a title, if you don't know what the gate start is, you don't know that this has anything to do with BMX. So this little BMX tag was always on there, you know, on those covers. And even like that positioning on a newsstand, sometimes it's like this, but sometimes magazines are like that. So
that's a very position, right?
It's like, all right, BMX, you know, if you're trying to look for something that might be the only thing that you see that, you know, gets you to that.
Is there any like one particular photo you wanted on the cover, but it didn't get on the cover for some reason or not? But you was like, man, that really should have been on the cover.
I don't remember any, but I'm sure that was like a constant thing.
Right,
you know?
yeah.
Like, I would definitely go through all the photos and, you know, like, I think this one would be good. And sometimes you try a few. But yeah, it was always, you know, kind of figuring out what was going to be the best thing, or the best thing that you had each month. You know, and sometimes you just didn't have like something that was as good as other months, you know, but that's just kind of the way it goes. But we always try to put the best thing we had, you know, photo-wise up there.
I mean, you guys did a great job. Like I say, this was our era, and it's kind of our BMX action of our era, right?
Yeah.
It definitely was for me.
And you can really never like compare them, you know. It's different times, different decades, different world of racing and riding and stuff. This is one of the earlier issues of Trends with BMX. We put like multiple photos on the cover to show a variety of things. You had dirt jumping, you had racing, you had freestyle.
We just talked about that actually with the English guys on one of the English magazines where they did exactly that.
You know, and I think I was like, I remember there was a cover of Go magazine that had like 3
the Wild Man, one
like
of them?
that.
I think one was the
Todd
Wild
Lyons,
Man. Yeah.
I think maybe Ron Wilkerson, and I have to pull it
I remember
up,
the Wild Man been on it, yeah.
Yeah, and then we also did a cover of Ride BMX that was like that, and there was a Flatland photo with Leo Dumlau, Troy McMurray, and maybe Dave Mura on there. Maybe Dave. I have to kind of look, but you know, just showing variety of stuff, and maybe it's not the most exciting compared to one photo, you know, but
get different people's interest.
Yeah, you kind of show some different stuff in there. Always a lot of big ads in the front, you know. Photo from inside my office.
Oh, that's your office, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's you, James.
Me, James Ayers, Dave Corden was art director for a long time, and Kevin McAvoy, who was one of the editors also.
Oh, that's cool.
And then...
Dark in there.
Yes, I know. So this is, I don't know, a little insight into my office. Like, this was my calendar. This was the whole year, and I mean, you had to live and die by your calendar. Like, all the trips you had, all the deadlines and everything were on here. And then this was basically a big graph of like all the steps of the magazine that had to be done, and with dates on it.
Wow.
So, you know, it's like by this date the editorial, the text had to be in. By this date, the photos had to be in, and you know, and check off like each step, and you know, proofing and.
You look
and
tired in that
like
picture, Keith.
I probably am pretty tired.
You got a computer as well?
Yeah.
What kind of computer is that?
Mac.
A Mac?
Big
one.
desktop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And then my desk. So this desk that I had when I first started working for the magazine, the office was in Burbank, and I went up there and there was no desk for me. And Brad was like the owner of the magazine. He's like, hey, the place next door is throwing out some furniture. There's a desk out there. You guys should go grab it. So me and Chris Hargrave went and stole this desk. And then over the years, I covered it with stickers.
Right.
And I still have it. It's in my office here.
Oh, that's cool. It's history.
I kept it, yeah.
That's total BMX history.
Yeah, when the office moved down to Carlsbad from Tustin, I was like, well, that office had all built-in desks and everything. I was like, I'm going to keep it. So
Yeah.
I kept that.
Why not?
Let's see what else we find here.
Who were the girls that you would use for that then, like ad agency or something? And
I think at this time we probably had Transworld Motocross was happening, and they shot a lot of models like with moto gear, and every now and then they just
pass them on.
Take a couple photos with our stuff, with whatever model they were doing. But I never shot photos of models for this magazine.
No.
This is funny. So this ad is for Specialized, and if you hold it up to the light, TJ Lavin is like through the window.
Oh, okay, yeah, you can see it.
You have your phone or?
I don't know.
Yeah, I got mine. But yeah, like TJ.
Oh, okay, look.
So if you just hold it up to the light, it's like TJ's, through the through the window, and she's taking the top off, and then he's on the back there. Yeah.
Funny.
So I'm getting creative with the ads. Helmet art. Different painters. All the big rigs at the time, Schwinn, GT, a bunch of SUVs.
Something you don't see anymore now.
Adam Strebe with the first tail whip backflip that was pulled, I think, at a contest.
He raced as well, right? I know the other. Adam was the red line one, right?
He was the red line one. They all, I think, raced.
Yeah.
But Adam got really good at jumping. And
he was sponsored by Red Line for dirt jumping, right?
Yeah. But, at this time, Transworld BMX, early 2000s, like a lot of race mixed in with freestyle. You had Wade Boots, Bombshell, you for Nerve. You're in a lot of ads, Dad.
Yeah.
Nora Cup, 2002. Who do you think won?
2? Is that Neil or Robbie, right?
Oh, this was voting, I think. So this is when you voted for it and had the ballot in there.
Who won that year?
We'd have to look a few issues later.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this is when it was not just racers, but dirt jumpers and ramp riders, street riders. So, Flatland.
Christoph's in a lot of ads as well.
Yep. Specialized Days. Warwick Stevenson.
Diamondback.
Leading.
Levi. Nordmark from Norway. He's on Powerlight.
Where's this race? So I think this is kind of back to your question of racing in the magazine. I think this is more of a lot of stuff from different races, kind of all one article. I think this is Warwick at Orlando.
It's like a wrap up.
Yeah, this is Orlando.
St. Cloud maybe.
Bakersfield.
No, that is Orlando. Yeah.
Some different. This is Phoenix. So just a variety of things all in one article. UGB Roots Contest.
Yeah, that's cool.
Wildman.
Huffy.
Bike Test. Andre Ellison testing for us. I always like shooting photos with him. He was super young, fast racer, but great jumper.
Him and Bubba, young age, used to battle, didn't they, right? Bubba Harris, in the younger amateur days.
This is probably Mario. No.
Lee.
Donnie Robinson.
Donnie Robinson, yeah.
Yep.
Young Donnie. That's cool. I think, Keith, we can kind of, because we're not even looked on there, I think we should maybe come back again in another 4 years. But if I don't know if you can look up there, Kenny, maybe give us a quick wrap it up with some of the other magazines up there that we could maybe come check out another time.
I definitely got a collection.
Got even UK Ride up there. Let's see. BMX Action.
Yeah, I got a lot of Ride UK, Dig,
Dirt. Even got Dirt Mountain Bike.
BMX Plus.
Yeah.
I have all my my first magazines like Super BMX and stuff like that.
Did you save all the like MBL papers and ABA?
I do, yeah. They're not here. I have them in a closet, but I think I saved all my MBL papers. I didn't get the ABA paper for very long. Like growing up in New York, I was more NBL,
yeah.
so I didn't race ABA a whole lot. But you know, like within my collection and stuff, there's definitely some really old stuff I can pull out. Stuff that I bought, you know, online that I didn't have when I was little, but like first issue of BMX Plus.
What year is that?
1978.
Wow.
So
Is that Greg Hill?
yeah, I think it was him.
Red Line.
Um,
That's crazy.
but yeah, lots of old stuff. My first magazine was like stuff disintegrating. My first magazines were like BMX Plus and
Super BMX.
BMX.
Yeah.
There's a couple other ones. Let's see what I can find here. But yeah, I think I had BMX magazines before I even started racing. Like, got them from the local bike shop. And you know, that was kind of how I first started learning about racing and different stuff. These are all BMX Action here. I haven't really gone through my magazines in a while, so I'm not sure where everything is organization-wise. And they're so beat up too, for me looking at them as a little kid over and over. You know, covers are falling off and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's cool. And you would never sell your magazines, I'm sure, right?
No, maybe some doubles, but
Yeah. I'm sure when people see this, they're gonna probably get a few messages from people. Well, cool. I appreciate that, Keith.
yeah.
It was cool looking at your magazines, and like I say, we could go on forever doing this. This is just a small snippet, so maybe at some point we'll come back and we'll do it again. Cheers for watching.
Thanks.